So I would like to ask all the presenters to keep 20 minutes so that we can basically keep all the sessions on time. So now I would like to ask Xinqiao Ping, he's a professor of economics from Peking University, to present his paper on Beyond Keynesianism. This paper actually has been written in co-authorship with Justin Lin, who is actually former World Bank chief economist. And currently, he is the dean of South Center in Peking University. Thank you.
Thank you for invitation. Thanks for NSC Institute support for this research program. This unfinished paper with just Yifu Lin and Dr. Wang. The main focus of this paper is about the impact of investment, infrastructure investment in China. This is the new structural economics view. Last paper introduced in this presentation is about the government share. And in China, the government play a great role in economic development. They emphasize the fiscal and monetary policy. But this issue is related with the Ricardian equilibrium theory. And there are three implications of Ricardian equilibrium theory. About the role, about the neutrality of government policy. The first of the implication is the indifference between the tax finance and the data finance for government, for given size of government expenditure. The second meaning means the full perfect rationality of consumers. Whenever the government shifts the debt or shifts the tax burden from today and tomorrow, the impact is the same because the rational consumer will fully cite the future tax burden to cut off the consumer in future. So they will more saving and reduce current consumption. And the third level of general meaning of Ricardo equivalent theory is undo everything government did. Whenever government implement some policy physically or monetarily, the consumer will hedge. We hedge against it. So the government, the effect of government policy will lessen. That's the meaning. For our research, we related with is this right? Is government expense neutral? Or does bond finance tax can stimulate private consumption? And finally, what's the mechanism for government effect? And our research is related with Barrow's paper in 1974 and Barrow's newer paper in 2011 on QGE paper. On that paper, Barrow found out there is some effect of government spending on consumption. But on the other side, in order to finance government expenditure, government should raise tax. The electricity of the consumption to tax rising is more than 1%. So the balanced budget effect is negative for government spending. So that's the key point. From Keynesian theory is really emphasized on the real wealth effect of consumption. From Peking, from Toping, from recently Newell Warford. The main point is imperfect information and imperfect financial market. With imperfect information and with imperfect financial market, they can increase the real world effect of government expenditure on consumption. And Manquin's paper on the 1986 is about uncertainty. Now we briefly review our school's view. It's called in structural economics. Many depend on just if Lin. We focus not on lump sum. The focus of our research, not the title, but shift on the structure. The structure of economy, the structure of the industry, and the structure of financial component expenditure. That's the first point. The second point is we focus on the changes of endowments. Given endowments, the market will determine allocation of a resource. But the government can affect the future endowment. Government can affect the evolution and the changes of endowments, mainly by infrastructure investment policies. So that's our second point. The third point is the mechanism. The mechanism government takes data or tax policy can affect economy is the role of infrastructure plan in economic development. The new school of economic structure emphasizes in order to promote industrial with some competitive advantage to be a competitive industrial is need complemented with the infrastructures. With the complicated infrastructure that can promote the economy into frontier of production possibilities. So there are some relationship between infrastructure and total factor productivity. In turn, total factor productivity is a measurement of the efficiency of economy. So, but our school also said the relationship between the infrastructure and efficiency will be shaping on the reverse U-turn, U side. First is the reverse U side. First, with more infrastructure investment, the efficiency will be increasing. Then on other point, the effective may be declining. So on every stage of development, there may exist some optimal level of infrastructure investment. And finally, this point 6, we emphasize the relationship between the government spending on the total consumption. Also, we guess from our point of the effect of government policy, there are some optimal relationship between government welfare expenditure and total consumption. Maybe the shape is reverse U size. So this is our two assumptions. First is in production possibility frontier. That's represented by total factor productivity. The total factor productivity may be positively related with the infrastructure investment growth rate. This is the first hypothesis. The second hypothesis is government welfare spending may be positively related with the total consumption expenditure. So the data, this is with Chinese data, more than 20 years, from 1996 to 2000 to last year. And the main variable is divided by 3 categories. The first type is about endowment, K, capital, stock, labor stock, population. This first type. The second category is about the government policy in order to change endowment of resource. For physical policy, for expenditure on R&D, for expenditure about the infrastructure investment, and expenditure for the welfare program. The third category is about result of improvement endowment. So more than 20 variables can be divided by 3 subsets of the variables. This method is we use the base year. 1952 is our base year for calculation. So all the capital and the labor, all the capital and GDP and investment may be real term of GDP and real term value with the price of 1952's price. So it can be comparative. This is the equation. We use the production function with the protector GDP and protector capital. The main information is summarized in table 3.2. I can shall mention it. The first thing is about total factor product index. This observation is a year from 1996 to 2017. So observation is 21 or 22. This information is missing. So the timelines or the 11th. Then you can find out usually the mixed number is happened in 1996. The max number is happened in 2007. So between mix and max, actually is history change. So you can find out the GDP is doubled, it grows more than 8 times. 8 times. This is in real terms, means 3 hills. But the labor and the population almost the same between these 2 decades. The real change is capital stock. Capital stock changed more than 14 times in real terms. This is the change of the endowments. The second is the government policy to improve the endowments. You can see number 6, government expenditure for R&D. In 1996, the size of government expenditure for R&D is only about 440 billion yuan in every year. But on this number on the 2007 is more than 40 times as that in 1996. So this means government expenditure for R&D, government expenditure for government expenditure for endowments, government expenditure for infrastructure. That's 15, number 15. Government expenditure for infrastructure. In 1996, only about 1,400 billion yuan every year. This number is increased more than 14 times 20 years later. So the infrastructure investment and R&D, this government can change endowments. This level is increased in huge speed in China.
Professor Ping, you have 5 minutes.
Okay.
Less than 5 minutes.
Okay. Okay. So now we look at the result. That's the total factor product index. You can find out there are some trend. The first period is increase. Then the peak is happened in around 2008. Then declining. That's China. This is number. You can find the peak. It happened on the 2007 and 2008. Then declining. That's the provincial shape. Provincial, you can almost every province, the peak is happening on around 2008. But there are three exceptions. First is Zhejiang, is increasing recently, last decade. Zhejiang is increasing. Second is Chongqing, increasing. And third is Jiangxi, is increasing. So only three exceptions, Jiangxi, Chongqing, and Zhejiang, increasing of total factor productivity index in last decade. Then rest of them is declining. That's the shape. This level is the investment growth rate. This is the total factor productivity index. And that's the per capita consumption level. This one is urban. The low one is the rural areas. Both of them increasing, but the absolute gap is increasing, but the relative gap is declining. Relatively on the 1996, the urban level is about 2.8 times of rural. On the 2017, the urban level is about 2.3 times of rural. So it's relatively declining. Now, if you briefly look at the result of regulation, the independent variable is PPP's index. The dependent variable is infrastructure and rural areas, per capita rural areas, government R&D expenditure, and FDI. You can find out in all level, government infrastructure investment can increase total factor productivities. And especially, in particular, government R&D expenditure can increase much larger than the effect of the infrastructure investment. This coefficient, the level coefficient is larger than this one. But the interactions factor is negative, with infrastructure investment multiplied by per capita road areas. Per capita road area means accumulated level of infrastructure. So that means the marginal effect is declining for infrastructure. That's the national level. For provincial level, panel result, almost same. Expect the absolute magnitude is smaller than national. Every
coefficient level is smaller than this one. This is our first regulation. And regionally, we divided panel data into 4 regions: East, Middle, West, and Northeast weight, including Northeast basement for industrialization. You can find out that the effect of investment is largest in Northern East areas. The East and the Middle East is slightly effective, but on the West, the investors have no effect. The ratio of service is negative. That means the investment for infrastructure is mainly effect on the manufacturing sectors, not on the service sectors. The second regulation is about the effect of government welfare expenditure on the consumption. We isolated every items of government expenditure on security, on endowments, insurance, on Medicare, on civil service. You can find every term have positive effect on per capita on consumption. So, but the rural effect is larger than the effect on urban. That's the result for the provincial panel, almost same. And lastly, we regress by divided by the region. The difference is the road area on the east is positive. The road areas for per capita consumption in the east can increase consumption level. But on the middle, on the west, on the northeast, the road area, building road, is reduced or insignificant effect the per capita consumption. So, in summary, we can find out the more investment in infrastructure, the total factor productivity can be increased. That's the one point. But this effect has some regionality and regional difference, and also complemented with the R&D in government expenditure, and also complemented with the FDI, with the road, with the urbanization. And the second result is for consumption, government welfare expenditure is generally positive effect on total affection. So from the structure level point, we can find not the total, not the lump sum. In structure viewpoint, we can find out a new site for government policy to improve the productivity, improve the future endowment resource. That's our main result. Thank you.